Dominica. Ever wanted to swim alongside sperm whales? Dominica now offers the chance to do it in an ethical, sustainable way as part of the Caribbean island's groundbreaking commitment to marine conservation and regenerative tourism. The island nation recently established the world's first sperm whale reserve, a protected marine area designed to safeguard its resident giants. Limited permits for whale swims ensure intimate, respectful encounters, offering visitors a once-in-a-lifetime experience to share the water with these incredible cetaceans while facilitating research and creating sustainable tourism opportunities for local residents. New for 2025, expanded infrastructure and systems are set to welcome visitors, including digital immigration forms to ease arrival and the development of a cable car system taking riders from Rizzo Valley up to Boiling Lake, one of the world's largest thermal springs. Access to the island has never been easier. On top of existing American Airlines flights from Miami, United Airlines is launching direct flights from Newark starting February 15th. Several new hotels are opening in 2025, adding nearly 500 rooms with a 25% increase in inventory, including the 6-star Hilton Tranquility Beach Resort and Spa in Salisbury. Or choose a tried-and-true classic such as Secret Bay, a luxury eco-property that frequently tops sustainability lists. Dominica is also home to Project SETI, a groundbreaking international effort to decode whale language, clicks and codas, led by National Geographic explorer David Gruber. Elsewhere, visitors can explore hidden gorges, towering waterfalls and feast on local cuisine at unique eateries, such as the Farm-to-Table Laco. Dominica isn't just a destination, it's a movement to support a burgeoning model of ecotourism that balances biodiversity conservation with economic growth, ensuring that your adventure helps protect this natural paradise for generations to come. 2. Naoshima, Japan. Home to one of Yayoi Kusuma's iconic yellow, polka-dotted pumpkin sculptures, the Japanese island of Naoshima has become a must-see destination for connoisseurs of contemporary art and architecture. Once known, if at all, for its highly polluting copper smelting industry, the island's transformation is thanks to Buness art site Naoshima, which has helped create major museums and site-specific artworks in the scenically stunning and dramatically population-dwindling Seto Inland Sea, located between Japan's main island of Honshu and Shikoku. Spring 2025 sees the opening of the Naoshima New Museum of Art, designed by Tadao Ando, the award-winning architect behind 9 other projects on the island. This new showcase for works by Asian artists will be a major highlight of this year's Setouchi Triennale, with events and unveilings of artwork scattered across 17 islands and coastal areas of the Seto Inland Sea. Scheduled over 100 days and split between spring, summer and autumn to allow visitors to enjoy the region through the different seasons, this is the largest iteration of the Triennale since it began in 2010. The festival and activities of Buness art site Naoshima have been instrumental in turning not only Naoshima's fortunes around but also reviving the neighboring islands of Teshima and Inujima. Book ahead to visit Rei Nato and Ryu Nishizawa's Teshima Art Museum, a one-of-a-kind synthesis of art, architecture and nature, while on Inujima, travelers will be amazed by the remains of a historic copper refinery reimagined as an epic-scale art installation. Memorable places to stay include Roka, a contemporary-styled ryokan on Naoshima, and the elegantly minimalist Espoir Inn on Teshima. 4. Greenland. There is nowhere on Earth like Greenland. Spanning more than 2 million sq.km, the world's largest island has a population of less than 57,000. Covered by a vast ice cap and spectacular mountains, its unspoiled wilderness and majestic fjords aren't just a coveted geopolitical entity, they offer adventures of a lifetime. Stunning hiking and spellbinding whale watching in summer and traditional dog sledding and the magical aurora in winter all make Greenland a bucket list destination. However, it has been remote, expensive and time-consuming to reach until now. With the opening of a new international airport in the capital city of Nuuk and 2 more following in 2026, getting to Greenland has never been easier. The country is welcoming mindful adventure travelers who love exploring while also respecting its incredible nature and unique Inuit culture. Greenland has adopted a pledge towards better tourism, and a new law aims to steer funds from tourism towards benefiting local communities. A modern town with a historic waterfront, informative museums, and impressive art galleries, Nuuk is also a launchpad for hiking, fishing and glamping trips and acts as a gateway for exploring a remarkable Arctic territory. Further north in Ilulissat, visitors can discover the jaw-dropping icebergs of Disco Bay and dramatic UNESCO-recognized Ice Fjord. In the south, a region once settled by Vikings, there are gorgeous fjords and scenic green hills dotted with sheep farms. 5. Wales. Though just 1/6 the size of England and far less visited than its more famous UK counterparts, Wales is filled with stunning national parks, awe-inspiring medieval castles and virtually no crowds, which only adds to its appeal. The new year offers travelers an additional excuse to explore one of Europe's most up-and-coming destinations. Wales is celebrating 2025 as the Year of Creso. Welcome. The year-long event showcases Welsh culture, language and attractions while inviting visitors to feel the HWYL, an untranslatable Welsh word describing a deep state of joy that comes from being immersed in the moment. In recent years, Wales has positioned itself at the forefront of sustainable, culturally focused travel. Tourism has helped play a role in the revival of the Welsh language, and the nation is in the midst of a multi-year £5 billion program that uses tourism funds to make various destinations more environmentally sustainable. As part of its Year of Creso, Wales is investing in mobility bikes to help more adventure seekers explore its wild side. What's more, Wales is home to the Wales Coast Path, the only hiking path in the world that runs the entire length of a country's coastline. 6. Western Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. Labrador, the mainland portion of Newfoundland and Labrador in eastern Canada, is a vast, rugged region known for its windswept coastal villages, towering icebergs, subarctic forests and massive waterfalls, all underpinned by more than 9,000 years of human history. In 2025, the completion of the last stage of the 1,200 km Trans-Labrador Highway, a feat that took nearly 25 years and $1 billion to build, transforms this remote 294,330 square kilometers landscape into a more accessible destination. The new circular route, known as Expedition 51, connects Labrador with 5 Canadian provinces while offering detours into the US and even France, via Saint-Pierre and Miquelon. To encourage sustainable tourism and celebrate the cultural heritage in this formerly isolated part of the North, the Canadian government has invested $180 million into Parks Canada sites in Western Newfoundland and Labrador. In 2025, Red Bay National Historic Site, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and former Basque whaling station, will debut a new interactive boardwalk and visitor center. L'Anse aux Meadows, home to the first Norse settlement in North America, is enhancing its ecological protections and upgrading visitor facilities, while Grow More National Park will introduce new interpretive exhibits that highlight the park's dramatic geology, wildlife and landscapes. 7. Tucson, Arizona, U.S. Tucson has a lot to celebrate in 2025. This year marks the 10th anniversary of when it became the first city in the U.S. to receive a UNESCO City of Gastronomy distinction, as well as the 250th anniversary of the city's founding. Originally part of Mexico, the area now called Tucson will celebrate its unique multinational history, as well as the deep-rooted Native American cultures that make it special, with a free event on August 23 featuring traditional Mexican music and dancing held at the Presidio San Agustin del Tucson. Visitors throughout the year can explore Tucson's miles of desert hiking trails and historic buildings, like the 250-year-old San Xavier del Bac, the so-called White Dove of the Desert. Preservation like this points to why the city is set to receive a Sustainability Index award from the Global Destination Sustainability Movement, GDS, this year. But while the building's history is impressive, the nearby gardens reveal an even richer history. They are the oldest continuously cultivated soil in the U.S. 4,000 years ago, the Tohono O'odham's ancestors farmed squashes, beans and corn on this land. After mixing and melding with Mexican and other indigenous flavors over the centuries, many of these ancient herbs and crops are still staples in kitchens across the city. Diners can immerse themselves in the city's unique food scene at one of its City of Gastronomy certified restaurants or heirloom farmers markets, which regularly feature unique local ingredients such as chiltepin chilies, edible cacti called nopales and prickly pear. 8. Western Australia. Known as the world's most isolated big city, Perth, and the state of Western Australia, WA, have long played second fiddle to the east coast cities of Melbourne and Sydney. However, with Australia's only direct flights to Europe, Perth is positioning itself as Australia's western gateway and a global aviation hub, with a $5 billion redevelopment of Perth Airport set to enhance the travel experience. And with new connections to Asia, WA is poised to become a must-visit destination in 2025. But it's not just about getting here, it's about what awaits. Outside of newly cool Perth and its gorgeous Swan Valley wine region, WA's vast landscapes span more than 2.5 million square kilometers, encompassing 12,500 kilometers of pristine coastline, bubblegum pink lakes, horizontal waterfalls, towering Kerry forests, wildflowers, wineries and wildlife encounters like swimming with whale sharks and snapping selfies with quokkas, the happiest animal in the world. Sustainability-minded road trippers can explore it all on the new 6,600 kilometers electric vehicle highway, the world's longest EV charging network. WA is also championing its rich cultural heritage through the $20 million Australian Gina Aboriginal Tourism Action Plan that supports authentic Indigenous-led experiences for travellers as well as Indigenous business development. Learn about the oldest living cultures on Earth on a truth-telling walking tour in Rockingham or a 4WD Tagalong coast foraging tour complete with bush barbecue in Broome. Add ancient petroglyphs at Marujaga National Park under consideration for UNESCO World Heritage status in 2025, new disability-friendly infrastructure and equipment on the stunning Houtman Abrolhos Islands, boutique hotels in Fremantle and tiny dream stays in the Great Southern, and WA is set to redefine travel to Australia this year. 9. Sri Lanka. From its misty hilltop tea plantations and roaming wild elephants to its ancient temples and rolling surf, Sri Lanka is a country that ticks lots of boxes. In April 2022, the former Prime Minister announced Sri Lanka's bankruptcy, but a new president aims to rebuild the country's fortunes after it was hit by a pandemic and civil unrest. The resilient island nation is hoping to get back on its feet through tourism. The city of Kandy will see the opening of its first 7-star hotel, Aviana Private Chalets, while Arunya Nature Resort has a new family villa that includes an Oculus for stargazing. There's a $1 billion mega resort opening in Colombo, and the launch of Sri Lanka's new airline Air Saleo, which will fly as far as Europe and Australia. The nation also recently launched the Good Travel Seal initiative, which celebrates local businesses who have adopted sustainable practices. Visitors looking for a collocation can take a legendary train ride into its mountainous interior, or travel to Colombo and Gal to discover a new generation of mixologists putting their spin on Arak, a 5th-century drink. The island has also opened the 300 km Pico Trail, which takes hikers through tea plantations and rural villages in the Central Highlands. For those who want to cover more ground, an innovative startup allows travelers to self-drive a tuk-tuk across the island, with the money going directly to the owner. 10. Panama. After managing the Panama Canal for decades, the U.S. handed control of it over to Panama at the end of 1999 in a treaty signed by the late U.S. President Jimmy Carter. This year marks the 25th anniversary of Panama's sovereignty over its namesake waterway, and as President-elect Donald Trump hints at the possibility of using military force to resize it, a series of new permanent exhibits at the landmark's Museo del Canal highlighting its path to Panamanian rule feels especially timely. Yet, there's more to see in this nation of vast jungles, idyllic islands, and mountainous forests beyond the canal. In 2024, the Meaningful Travel Map to Panama launched in partnership with nonprofit Tourism Cares to make it easier for visitors to find locally led travel experiences across the country. After embarking on a local empty walking tour through Panama City's Casco Antiguo and El Chorrillo neighborhoods, head southwest to the La Pintada district, where artists weave fibers to make traditional Panama hats by hand, a UNESCO-recognized practice known as sombrero pintado. In El Valle de Anton, named one of the best community tourism villages by UN Tourism in 2024, take a hike through a lush cloud forest on the Cerro Gato Lookout Trail where you can see both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea on a clear day from the summit. This newly opened path is part of Panama's ongoing 1,000 kilometers of trails project, which seeks to boost sustainable tourism in rural communities while bringing hikers face to face with Panama's staggering biodiversity. 11. Rif Mountains, Morocco. Snow-capped mountains, sweeping deserts, ancient cities, and rich cultural heritage have long made Morocco one of North Africa's most popular destinations. But the Al House earthquake of September 2023 not only devastated parts of Marrakesh and the Atlas Mountains, it also severely impacted tourism. As Morocco continues to build and rebuild its tourism infrastructure in preparation for co-hosting the 2030 FIFA World Cup, the nation is aiming to double its tourist arrivals in the next 5 years. Bypass the crowds by taking a road trip through the Rif Mountains in Morocco's less frequented northern region. The planned 2025 to 2027 expansion of Morocco's high-speed rail (HSR) network will create a multitude of new train lines, including a link from Rabat to the ancient, 1,300-year-old walled Rif mountain city of Fez, home to a UNESCO World Heritage Medina and the host of several games in the Africa Cup of Nations 2025. From Fez, it's a 65 kilometers drive north to Moulay Idris, an ancient hilltop village once closed to non-Muslims. Pass through olive and almond groves and mountain villages for a stop in Ouezane, a center of Sufism, then continue north to Talasemtane National Park to hike through cedar forests, climb craggy red peaks and dive into natural swimming holes. Further north is the town of Chefchaouen, known as the Blue Pearl, for its blue-painted buildings and streets. Finally, cruise along Morocco's northern coast, unwinding in sleepy Mediterranean fishing villages like El Jebba and the whitewashed Spanish colonial buildings of Tetouan. 12. Bradford, England. The northern English city of Bradford is finally poised to step out from the long shadow cast by its giant Yorkshire neighbour, Leeds, as it takes its place as the 2025 UK City of Culture. A fabulous year-long program of events includes the reopening of the National Science and Media Museum, plus innovative celebrations of local cultural icons, more than 400 works by Bradford-born artist David Hockney held in a UNESCO World Heritage 1850s mill. New Digital takes on a fantasy world dreamed up by the famed literary Bronte sisters, and a musical program mixing in electronic bassline symphony, old factory folk music, brass bands, and South Asian sounds. The diversity of offerings reflects the eye-opening variety of a city whose historic enclaves like Little Germany, where 19th-century Teutonic wool merchants built an array of neoclassical warehouses, are complemented by a landscape of dramatic moors that play host to an extraordinary open-air immersive sound walk mixing contemporary classical music with a sculpture trail. A special energy also comes from the local residents who represent diverse backgrounds, and youth, a quarter are under 20 years old. Bradford's historic streets and rugged country setting helped the city become Britain's first UNESCO City of Film, an accolade shared with places as varied as Rome, Sydney, and Busan, a setting for screen hits including BBC series like Peaky Blinders and Gentleman Jack, and classic films like The Railway Children and Wuthering Heights. And this year, there's even an interactive cookbook project celebrating recipes from local communities and showing that in 2025, Bradford is truly a destination to please all tastes. 13. Jordan. Home to some of the world's most breathtaking desert landscapes and the ancient capital of one of history's most mysterious civilizations, Jordan never fails to evoke wonder. But take a closer look and you'll find that the country has been quietly building up its reputation as the Middle East's go-to destination for outdoor adventure seekers. In 2023, a stunning new 10-day, 120 km long hiking path known as the Wadi Rum Trail opened, which weaves through the rust-red walls of Jordan's iconic Wadi Rum, tracing the otherworldly landscapes featured in the films Star Wars, Dune, and The Martian. Visitors have traditionally breezed through the desert here on 4x4 tours, but this community tourism project promotes a slower, more sustainable form of travel that protects the desert's delicate ecosystem while safeguarding the rich cultural heritage of the local Bedouin community. Elsewhere, this main-sized nation is teeming with 33 protected land and marine ecosystems. At the Wadi Mujib Biosphere Reserve, the world's lowest-lying nature reserve at 410 m below sea level, visitors can search for the elusive desert-dwelling Nubian ibex while climbing, swimming, and sliding their way through a sandstone gorge to the base of a crashing waterfall. The Dana Biosphere Reserve, Jordan's largest, is home to 180 bird species and 25 endangered mammal species. The rich coral reefs of the Aqaba Marine Reserve, which was added to the IUCN Green List of Protected and Conserved Areas in January 2025, support more than 500 fish species and a growing diving scene. 14. Ha Valley, Bhutan. Almost completely isolated from the outside world for centuries, this erstwhile hermit kingdom nestled in the Himalayas only began welcoming foreigners in 1974. It's since become a global leader in sustainability. It's the world's first carbon-negative nation, more than 60% of its land is protected forest and it measures gross national happiness instead of GDP. The Ha Valley, a pristine forested district along Bhutan's western frontier with Tibet, has long been the country's best-kept secret, a culturally distinct region still untouched by mass tourism. This forgotten corner of the Thunder Dragon Kingdom was the last district to open to foreigners in 2002, and today, fewer than 2% of international travelers visit, despite it being a yak's graze from Paro International Airport. It's now emerging from the shadows, balancing preservation with thoughtful development in its bid for more visitors. Travelers can explore Ha's raw beauty through the newly restored 400 km Trans-Bhutan Trail, the freshly added 11 km Ha Panorama Trail, a revival of an ancient route, and the 2-day Joy Bay Cho Trek, which snakes through pastures, canopy forests and bamboo groves between the villages of Machu and Yucca. Ha's commitment to sustainable tourism means you'll find locally run homestays, and some local hotels, offering glimpses into centuries-old rural life. 2 distinct, low-impact accommodations have also opened: the community-run Cat Show Eco Camp, built along the Ha Panorama Trail by guides and cooks who lost their jobs during the pandemic, and the luxury Sangwa Camp. Here, visitors witness local culture, like Bon rituals and rare experiences such as breakfast in Bhutan's Lone Strict Nature Reserve, a highly protected biodiversity hotspot home to rare species like the red panda and snow leopard. With Bhutan's sustainable daily fee halved through 2027, now $100, this once secluded paradise is now more accessible while remaining just as committed to low-impact tourism. 15. Hawaii, U.S. More than a year after a series of deadly wildfires devastated Maui, the entire state is experiencing a dramatic downturn in visitors. As families and local businesses continue to rebuild, they're asking travelers to return, but to do so responsibly. Enter the Malama Hawaii program. Meaning to protect or give back, Malama is a Hawaiian word embodying a sense of stewardship and respect for the environment. As such, the program pairs travelers with more than 350 volunteer opportunities, ranging from restoring native forests to sewing and cooking with Maui families to helping to preserve plant and animal habitats on the slopes of Mount Kia. In exchange, travelers receive discounted, or in some cases, free, stays at dozens of hotels and resorts across the islands, including the famous Four Seasons Resort Maui at Wailea, where the first season of The White Lotus was filmed. 16. Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan has one of the youngest populations in the world, more than 60% are under 30. Being surrounded by a sea of young people on Tashkent's metros, which double as art museums with Soviet-era mosaics, you can see a new generation taking over. As the country strives to maintain its unique traditions and cultures, it is investing in tourism with new hotels, train routes, domestic flights and cultural attractions to grow its economy, retain its youth and attract more visitors. Uzbekistan is getting its first major international biennial with the Bokhara Biennial in September 2025. Other major cultural developments include an expansion of the State Museum of Arts designed by Tadao Ando and the restoration and partial reconstruction of the Palace of Prince Romanov. As of May 2024, citizens of more than 90 countries, including the UK, Canada and Australia, can visit Uzbekistan without a visa. The president has said he intends to create a global green tourism startup lab to bring together the country's commitment to a green economy with tourism. Crossing the border with neighboring countries has also become easier. The region's first international railway route, the Silk Road Railway Tour, launched in November 2024 and now connects Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. 17. Haida Gwaii, Canada. Haida Gwaii, an archipelago of more than 150 islands off the coast of British Columbia, offers more than breathtaking landscapes. It provides a profound connection to nature, culture, and history. Isolated from the mainland, the ecologically rich islands are home to more than 6,800 species, including endemic birds, mammals, and plants that have sustained the Haida people for at least 15,000 years. What makes Haida Gwaii a standout destination in 2025 is the groundbreaking Rising Tide Haida Tidal Lands Agreement. This legislation marks a transformative moment in Indigenous rights in Canada, officially recognizing the Council of the Haida Nation as the territory's governing body under federal law. This shift is working to revitalize Haida culture and strengthen their environmental stewardship. Visitors can explore long-abandoned Haida villages like Esjiang Gwaii, a UNESCO World Heritage Site with ancient mortuary poles and longhouse remains, and encounter distinctive wildlife such as the Haida Gwaii black bear, called Ton in the local dialect, and seabirds like puffins and ancient merlets. Upon arrival, guests are introduced to Haida laws, including the concept of Gina Thwadluxen Good Ad Quagid, everything depends on everything else, a teaching that underscores our shared responsibility to care for the earth. 18. Emerald Coast, Nicaragua. home to mist-shrouded rainforests, emerald lakes, towering volcanoes, and one of the America's oldest and most attractive cities, UNESCO-enshrined Granada, which celebrated its 500th anniversary in December 2024, Central America's largest country remains one of its least visited. That may soon change with the opening of the new Carretera Costanera, a $400 million, 350 km long highway linking 53 beaches along the nation's Pacific coast, from the Gulf of Fonseca in the north to the turquoise waters of Playa El Naranjo in the south. Set to be completed in 2025, the ambitious new infrastructure project makes it much easier to shoot south from Nicaragua's sprawling capital, Managua, to the tropical forests and the world-class surf hubs of San Juan del Sur and Popoyo along the country's 50 km long Emerald Coast, which has been luring in the no backpackers for years. More importantly, the Costanera is aiming to breathe new economic life into the nation, which is one of the poorest in the Western Hemisphere and views its growing tourism sector as key to its economic growth. After learning to ride a wave at a locally owned surf camp and sleeping in a treehouse tucked inside a rainforest, venture to the Refugio de Vida Silvestre La Flor at the highway's southern tip, where thousands of endangered olive ridley and leatherback turtles lay their eggs between September and October in a once-in-a-lifetime experience. 19. Isle of Man. Despite being ringed on all sides by the UK, Northern Ireland to the west, Scotland to the north, England to the east and Wales to the south, this cliff-fringed island isn't actually part of the Commonwealth. Instead, the self-governing isle is said to be ruled by the world's oldest continuous parliament, the Tynwald, and it's committed to preserving its distinct character and developing a sustainable tourism model. Awash with ancient historical sites, such as Cashtal yn Ard, Castle of the Height, the largest Neolithic tomb in the British Isles, and Castle Rushen, one of the most complete medieval structures in Europe, the 85,000-resident island is decidedly forward-thinking. In 2016 it was recognized as a UNESCO biosphere, the world's only self-governing territory whose entire land and sea area has such designation, for its commitment to environmental preservation and cultural heritage. This year, witness the isle's spectacular native bird species at the new Manx BirdLife Point of Ayre National Reserve, which opened to the public in July 2024. Also on tap for 2025 is the 175th anniversary of O'Kell's Brewery, so celebrate this iconic Manx brew by partaking in tasting tours that will be held throughout the year. In addition to learning a few words in Manx Gaelic, the island's historical language, and familiarizing yourself with the Manx pound, the island's unique currency, one of the best ways to understand this unique British Crown dependency is to explore it on foot. Taking advantage of the isle's myriad of organized walking events, hikers will find rolling English fields, misty Irish hills and craggy Welsh coastlines, as well as dramatic Scottish Highland-esque peaks on the isle's highest point, Snaefell Mountain. On a clear day, trekkers can turn in a circle on its wind-whipped summit to see each country in the UK and Ireland. 20. Pakistan's Gilgit-Baltistan region. Pakistan is one of the world's most populated nations, yet it remains one of the great surprises for travelers. That may soon change, as the country is hoping a slew of responsible tourism initiatives and new sustainable efforts will lure eco-conscious visitors to explore its breathtaking northern regions, home to 5 of the planet's 14 peaks towering over 8,000 m, including the world's second highest, K2. Salam Pakistan, Pakistan's first-ever national tourism brand, which launched in 2023, allows travelers to easily apply for e-visas and make bookings on the digital platform, including the coveted mountaineering and trekking visa. It only takes a quick glance at the list of mountain peaks and treks to see the scale of Pakistan's unmatched adrenaline opportunities. Yet, Pakistan is much more than staggering mountain trails. The scenic Gilgit-Baltistan region, dubbed Heaven's Gate, is brimming with lush valleys, pristine lakes and glacial waterfalls. Cradled between trails are the Hunza Valley's fragrant cherry blossoms and apricot orchards, undulating UNESCO-listed Deosai plains and Shangri-La-esque mirrored lakes. Venture towards the Pakistan-China border to find the Kunjarab Pass, which will be operational year-round starting in 2025. 21. Azores. Marooned in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean some 1,500 kilometers west of Lisbon, this 9-island Portuguese archipelago is one of Europe's most isolated destinations and is known for its steaming natural hot springs, jewel-colored lakes, and sparkling lava tubes. The Azores already boast some of the continent's most dramatic black sand beaches and best whale-watching opportunities, but the islands can now add another superlative to the list, Europe's largest protected marine sanctuary. In a groundbreaking piece of legislation approved in October 2024, the Azores' newly designated marine protected area will extend 287,000 square kilometers, an expanse larger than all of Great Britain, and safeguard deep-sea corals, sharks, and the 28 species of whales and dolphins found here. Protecting the long-term health and biodiversity of these coral reefs will be a boon for travelers eager to participate in whale watching and sustainable marine research expeditions in the years to come. Elsewhere, a scenic drive from the capital of Ponta Delgada, Furnace Valley is home to 2 active volcanoes. Spend some time hot spring hopping your way across the bubbling geothermal valley, wander through lush botanical gardens, or enjoy a leisurely stroll in Terra Nostra Park, arguably one of Europe's most beautiful parks. Dating back to 1775, the eponymous Terra Nostra Garden Hotel is a bona fide green retreat that will offer guests 24-hour access to their newly enhanced thermal pools and jacuzzis starting in January 2025. Don't leave without sampling the Cocido das Furnas, a local meat stew buried underground and slow-cooked using the volcanic hot springs' natural heat. Nearby, sample purple volcanic tea at Chalet de Tia Merces, or plan a visit to the family-owned Guarana Tea Factory, the oldest, and only, tea plantation in Europe. 22. Kansas City, Missouri, U.S. Kansas City, Missouri is making 2025 its glow-up year. The city heretofore known as the Paris of the Plains is busily promoting its creative arts scene and status as one of North America's barbecue capitals, all while launching an urban revitalization plan that includes new museums, entertainment districts, and hotels. At the heart of the rebrand is the Museum of Barbecue, the world's first museum dedicated to the art of smoked meat. Slated to open at the Crown Center Shopping District in spring 2025, the immersive experience will delve into Kansas City's deep barbecue culture, leading visitors through interactive exhibits culminating in a gift shop selling all manner of barbecue goods. The Berkeley Riverfront will continue to see new dining experiences, shops, and apartment buildings among its incoming development. The Kansas City International Airport completed significant renovations in 2023, with the $1.5 billion expansion replacing outdated terminals and improving passenger flow. This year will also see upgrades to the KC streetcar, a 3.5-mile Main Street extension expected to open this summer that will make it even easier to reach some of the city's premier destinations, including the Union Hill Shopping District and the National World War I Museum and Memorial, home to the world's most comprehensive collection of World War I objects and documents. And when Rock Island Bridge reopens in spring 2025, it will become the site of a new entertainment district set 40 feet over a river. 23. Bolivia. Even if you've already stargazed at the space-like Unisalt Flats, the world's largest, and trekked breathlessly around the hilly capital of La Paz, the world's highest, Bolivia is worth a visit in 2025. This August marks the country's 200th anniversary, and it's celebrating with events and attractions throughout the year in the capitals of its 9 regions. Visit from February 24th to March 5th for the Oruro Carnival, which includes a multi-day folk dance parade and has earned UNESCO heritage status for preserving oral tradition. In Potosí, sip a bicentennial Singani, Bolivia's answer to Peru's Pisco. This strong spirit, now a symbol of national pride, is said to have started viticulture in the region in the 1500s in what was once a booming mining town, and Potosí still has the colonial architecture to prove it. Bolivia has the largest proportion of indigenous people in South America, with roughly 2/3 of the population directly related to the area's original inhabitants. Bolivia's prettiest city, Chuquisaca, also called Sucre, where the Declaration of Independence was signed in 1825, is home to many Quechua peoples. While there, be sure to visit the Museo de Arte Indigena for an up-close look at the country's ancient textile tradition. The Aymara people of the Altiplano welcome visitors to the Isla del Sol, an island in the middle of Lake Titicaca, whose moon-like terrain makes for an incredible day-long hike. Elsewhere, a new network of community-based tourism brings attractions and work opportunities to these sometimes remote communities, such as the Calalan Eco Lodge in the Amazon's Madidi National Park, where capybaras, cougars, and macaws make their homes. 24. Botswana. Botswana has been hailed as Africa's leader in green safari tourism due to its expansive wildlife reserves and the government's focus on high-income, low-impact ecotourism policies, a strategy that has traditionally meant allowing fewer tourists. But as the country ushers in a new government and continues to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic, its tourism sector and sustainable cash only stands to grow in 2025, with an increased demand for sustainable and culturally immersive travel experiences. In a bid to bolster tourism and strengthen the economy, Botswana has granted visa-free entry to visitors from 104 countries in recent years, including those from the US, UK, Germany, and Canada. This means more travelers can now explore Botswana's natural beauty, including the elephant capital of the world, Chobe National Park, and the UNESCO-listed Okavango Delta, a vast wetland in the Kalahari Desert that is one of the world's last havens for cheetahs and the black rhinoceros. The Okavango Delta will also see a number of new openings, including the 100% solar-powered Mbamba camp in the Delta's Lagoon Savannah dotted north, a luxury lodge offering a blend of comfort and family-friendly wildlife adventures that's slated to open in April 2025. Opening in May 2025 is Monokaira Camp, where visitors can enjoy walking safaris, Makoro canoe rides and armchair safaris while coming face-to-face with elephants, lions, and the Pels fishing owl. Starting in April 2025, new Air Botswana routes will connect Gaborone to Cape Town, making it even easier for visitors to explore Botswana's magical nature for themselves, sustainably. 25. Oslo, Norway. Is it even a city? A recent viral ad for Oslo, Norway asked. The tongue-in-cheek video nodded to how over-tourism has sullied other European capitals while showcasing the Norwegian capital's extreme walkability, world-class dining, and easy access to nearby fjords, islands, and serene postcard-perfect landscapes. Known for its modern architecture, sweeping waterfront, and no shortage of trees, it's one of Europe's most forested cities. Oslo is luring the kinds of visitors who will do their part to ensure that it remains one of the world's most sustainable cities. Visitors here are encouraged to refer to the Visit Oslo Responsibly Guidelines and the Green Oslo Guide, which break down the concept of sustainable tourism into 4 categories: planet, people, prosperity, and partnership. It's not unusual for hotels in the city center to feature green roofs that produce food, reduce energy use, manage rainwater, and support urban biodiversity. Travelers can ensure their visit has a positive impact on residents and the local environment by supporting local businesses like the Norwegian Adventure Company, which offers life-changing and sustainable experiences from its base in Oslo, like kayaking through glacier-carved fjords and chasing the northern lights. After a long day of exploring the spectacular Nordic countryside, dine at one of the city's many farm-to-table restaurants, like the Michelin-starred Mamo, which utilizes locally grown organic produce. So, is it even a city? Find out in 2025.